Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are working from deep run roots, which we haven't touched in a while because we've made a lot of the recipes in here, but it's fig season. Our kind neighbors brought us a bunch of figs from his tree, and we looked in here and found at least one recipe that we haven't made yet. I think most of the other ones we've made or used something we've made, and we haven't made that specifically, but anyway. So today we're going to be making the chocolate fig gravy, which sounds really weird, but think of it as like a sweet sauce. She says she likes it on biscuits at breakfast, or she likes it over the corn pone, which we've made before, which is a pretty dense cornbread, ice cream, or pound cake, which we will certainly be trying it on. Maybe not today, but before we let you know what we think of it. But so this starts with figs. Obviously, I've washed them, de-stemmed them, and then cut them in half, but they're going into a food processor, so you don't really have to cut them up too much. There we go. Our figs are in the food processor, and now we're going to add some heavy cream. I probably have a little bit more than the recipe says because that was what was left in my container and I didn't feel like not using it all, but that's all right. It'll be fine. So we've got some heavy cream. I'm going to use this one, this measuring cup, to measure the milk later, but it's just this. You put it in your food processor and just let it rip till you have a textured puree. Okay, I'm not trying to make butter out of this, so yeah, I think this will be fine. So now we have our 10-inch cast iron skillet, and we're going to add a bunch of ingredients to that before we put in the puree that we made. So we've got some just plain granulated sugar. We have some cocoa powder. I am using Dutch processed cocoa powder. It doesn't say to use Dutch processed cocoa powder, but it does say to use the high quality cocoa powder, and this is probably the best stuff I have on hand right now, so that's what I'm using. So we're going to put that in here. There we go. Flour. So we have a little bit of just all-purpose flour. The spices. So in here we have some salt, just plain kosher salt, some cinnamon, and some freshly grated nutmeg. And we also are going to add some orange zest. So I just use the same zester because it's all going in the same place. So that doesn't matter. And we're supposed to whisk this. So now that all of our dry ingredients are in here and mostly mixed together, we're going to add in our milk. And we may need more of this later if we want to thin it out a bit. You can thin it out with milk or water, but she suggests milk. I'm putting it in a little bit at a time just because that will mix with the flour more easily and the cocoa powder. But I think we're pretty good now. And now I'm just going to put the rest in. Mix it up. And our puree. The good thing about this food processor is that it doesn't have a hole in the bottom. So I can easily take this out, which means I don't mangle up my spatulas as much as I did with my old one. Because the old one, if you took the blade out, there was a hole and it could fall out. Your liquid ingredients could fall out. So now we're just going to pour all of this in here. It's a pretty thick puree. Now we're going to take this over to the stove at medium heat after I get it all whisked. So now we're going to take this over to the stove and put it on medium heat, and we'll see you there. So over here, over medium heat, we're just stirring it until it thickens to our liking. She says the edges tend to cook faster and may burn, so be careful with those. So that's why I started using my silicone spatula just so we can get that off the edges. And I've turned my heat up just a little bit just because I know that this pan on this burner, it needs to be a little bit above medium to really be medium. So we're kind of bringing it up a little bit faster because I just want to get it done. So this has started boiling a little bit after, I don't know, a couple of minutes, 4 minutes or so. So I am going to turn it back down to medium. Cast iron pans keep their heat pretty well, so I'm just not trying to burn this gravy. I know every time I make a fig recipe, I talk about the fact that I have an allergy to them. I think it's called oral allergy syndrome. It makes my mouth kind of itchy and feel weird when I eat fresh figs. I'm hoping that it doesn't cause too much of a problem when they're cooked. It tends to be better with stuff like pineapple because it denatures the protein a little bit, but we'll see if I can eat this. I can generally eat a little bit and not have a problem, but I'm definitely gonna try this. So the goal here is mostly to thicken it and to cook out the sort of raw flour. And I think we're just about there. It's starting to, I mean, it's not super thick, but it will thicken as it cools. But I'm going to give it a taste just to see if I can taste sort of raw flouriness. Tastes pretty good, tastes sweet. I definitely get a lot of that orange zest in there, but I think we're just about there. I'm going to call that good. And the last thing we need to do is turn off the heat and whisk in some butter. She says take it off the heat. That's not usually a problem for me with the induction stove. And it's going to stay hot because of the pan anyway. So we're just going to whisk in some butter that has been cubed. Mine is unsalted and cold just because I kept it in the refrigerator while I was waiting to do the recipe after I measured everything. So that is it for this recipe. We will show you how we serve it. And she does say this thickens up as it cools, and you can whisk in some more milk to thin it down as much as you like, or you can cook it longer and make it thicker if you really want it to be thicker. So that is entirely up to you. Anyway, we'll let you know what we think, show you what it looks like in all of the forms that we try it in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make chocolate fig gravy from Vivian Howard's Deep Run Roots cookbook, her first cookbook. It's one of the few recipes we have not made from the fig section. We have not done pancake sundae, but that just uses the whole fruit fig and lemon preserves, which we have made. And we haven't done fried chicken livers with balsamic marinated figs, and I will not be doing that because I am not a liver fan from any animal. Chicken, beef, it's not for me. So won't be doing that. Although the whole balsamic marinated figs, maybe with something else. That seems like an interesting thing. However, I'm allergic to figs, so I probably shouldn't do that anyway, which is kind of a problem with this recipe for me. I am able to eat it. It's not an anaphylaxis. It's not a life-threatening allergy. It just makes my mouth feel weird. And so It's not something I have a desire to eat very much of. I love figs, but knowing that I have this allergy and the result of it means I don't really like to eat it. However, my husband, who does not have a fig allergy, loved this, thought it was delicious, would eat the whole batch and probably shouldn't. We have not tried it on ice cream yet, but might do that tonight. Well, we had it on biscuits. It was great. If you just think of it as sort of like a chocolate sauce, and I think the gravy term here is what really sort of puts people off, but you know, biscuits with gravy, not bad. That's usual, but a sweet gravy, maybe not. But you put jam on biscuits and that's very similar. It's sort of a creamy chocolate flavored sauce. So it's fine. I think the name gives people pause for this recipe. But if you like figs, it's delicious. You definitely taste the orange. You taste the warm spices, the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and that's complemented with the chocolate. And the figs are sort of lightly sweet. There is sugar in it, so it's not just sweetened with figs. Put a little bit of healthy fruit in your sauce, and that's great. Anyway, I probably won't be making this again, even though my husband loved it, just because we can't eat it, or I can't eat it. So I don't like to make things that I can't eat. Not very often, anyway. But if you like figs, you should give this a try, and let me know in the comments down below if you do. And if you've enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and come back and watch me make something else next week. Probably not with figs.